If I can't keep up with the rest of the cast, then maybe I shouldn't be on this show. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I am Raphael and I am here to review season 15, episode 7 of the Real Housewives dressed in all Gucci of Atlanta. We start the episode off with Drew meeting up with this video director who for a second I thought it was Michael Darby, but luckily that's not the case. And I'm pretty sure that Michael wouldn't give her the video that she's looking for specifically, but this man's name is Rage and he has a history of working with big artists and their music videos. So Drew, she wants his help for her own music video for her hit song. You know, the one that went double aluminum foil, already know. And he's like, yeah, of course, I'm down. I'm already scouting a couple of places. They want to do like a roller skating theme. She loves working with him because their friendship goes all the way back to 2007 when she was in the movie Step Up, the first one, at least according to her memory, because as she's trying to remind him, Rage, do you remember when I was in the movie Step Up? He's looking at her as if he has no clue who she is, like, step up. Who's in the movie again? Remind me who's in the movie. Who? Drew Sidora. No, I have no idea who that is. Like, Rage, do you not know who your client is sitting in front of you? Like, but okay. So Drew, she goes on to tell him, I kind of want my friends to be in the music video. AKA she wants the cast of the show to do it for free so that way she could save $1. Rage is like, yeah, that's fine. But we still have auditions for dancers, models, etc., etc. But I have one request on your husband. How does he look without a shirt? Is his body okay? And I'm like, wait a minute, Rage. What kind of music video are we filming here? Maybe he is Michael Darby. What's going on here? And Drew, she's like, I mean, it's okay. Why? What about it? And Rage, he goes on to say, well, there's a part of the music video where the love interest takes off his shirt and his body has to look good. And I'm like, wow, Rage, what an interesting request. And if I was Drew, I would have pulled a charade with the party planner from the earlier seasons. You work for me, boo-boo. Like, don't come in here asking me if my husband's body is okay. Like, that's disrespectful. And if anything, Drew, you know, if you still haven't filmed the music video yet, and if you still need a video vixen, look no further because I can do it. You know, I don't ask for much. And I love the song too. I know my loving hit different when we switch in position cause you already know. Oh, cause you already know that it's yours. It's yours. It's yours. That's my baby. Then we see Sheree and Sanya meet up at this ice therapy session for their body. But before they do the activity, Sanya tells Sheree, so Sheree, how do you feel that Rihanna, she actually talked about your She by Sheree line? And at first I'm thinking, Rihanna who? But then I had to do my research and Sanya's actually telling the truth, kind of, because there's an interview online, a video, and she had a whole red carpet premiere for her Savage Fenty line, her clothing line, and the interviewer actually brought up Sheree and her clothing line to Rihanna by asking her, so Rihanna, I heard that you were working on a clothing brand for workout clothes or something like that, right? So are you coming for Sheree's She by Sheree clothing line? And I'm like, now interviewer, what a shady question. First of all, let's be serious. Rihanna coming for Sheree? Could you imagine if that was a storyline on this show? But she laughed it off and she told the interviewer, oh, She by Sheree. You know, I love Sheree. That's my girl. And that was it. And that right there, Sheree, that would have been all the motivation that I would have needed to make She by Sheree this grand empire. I can't let Rihanna be disappointed in me. I have to make her proud. She knows about my clothing brand. She knows about who I am. Yet here we are. So Sanya and Sheree, they go inside the icebox like Omarion, and I'm not really sure how the activity or the icebox works in general. Like they go inside and the temperature is below 0 and it's freezing and you're completely naked and it's supposed to work your muscle. I'm not really sure if I would personally do something like this because I wouldn't want to come out the icebox with a frozen booty hole and, you know, testicles looking like icicles sticking to my thigh. I just don't know. So both of them, eventually, they go to sit down to talk about what's been going on within the group. Sheree, she's like, you know what? I really don't like how this whole group is divided. I wonder why that is. Oh, wait, Marlo, your friend. That nobody seems to call out or say, hey, you're doing too much. But so she tells Sanya, you know what, Sanya? I just want everything to be Gucci again within this group. Wait, that's it right there. I'm going to have a brunch, a Gucci brunch, where everybody gets to wear Gucci to this brunch. And the first thing that I thought about the second that she said that was Carly Red. Louis Prada Gucci, pop those tags, pop those tags. But obviously, the obvious choice here that Sheree should have done was have this whole brunch at her chateau, Chateau Martel, and have everybody wear She by Sheree clothing so that way she could promote her clothing line. Even Candy mentioned the same idea on her Speak On It episode on YouTube. But I could see the complications because let's say that we show up to Sheree's house, we're sitting down, we have maybe 5, maybe at most 10 minutes to film a scene before the clothes start shredding to pieces. You show up thinking that you're gonna have a tasty little brunch. Next thing you know, as you're reaching for the bacon, was that my jogger set? So I can see why she went down the Gucci route. Then we see Marlo and Courtney meeting up at this restaurant for dinner. Marlo, she looks so good in that orange two-piece outfit that she had on. Courtney, she looked nice as well in her yellow outfit. So they sit down. Marlo, she tells the waiter, can I get 2 margaritas, but can you make sure to put them in a wine glass? Thank you. Courtney, I was on the same boat as Courtney because Courtney told Marlo, I never had a margarita in a wine glass. That's so cool. I never had that before. Why? That's so impressive. I never had that, Marlo. I can't believe that. Are we best friends? Because I was on the same boat. I mean, I've never had a margarita, nor have I ever seen a margarita in a wine glass. So Marlo, trendsetter, you're onto something here. So Marlo, she goes on to tell Courtney, well, you know what, Courtney, my 2 managers, Ty and Justin, they hooked me up with this one guy and I'm actually gonna go on a date with him. And I'm like, did they hook you up with this man or did you just hire him as a storyline for this show? Which one really isn't, Marlo? But she goes on to tell Courtney that she's so thankful for her because Courtney, she has the right resources to help Marlo expunge, that famous word, expunge, her criminal record, and she needs friends like Courtney. All right. And she doesn't need friends like Candy because Candy's always trying to tear her down. And I'm like, Candy, out of all people, Candy is the one trying to tear you down? That coming from Marlo's mouth. You saying that anybody on the show is trying to tear anybody else down, that's hilarious. Like, that is crazy. Like, Marlo is literally crazy. And she goes on to say how Candy wasn't there for her for the millionth time already this season. And Courtney, something is finally spinning in her head correctly because she's looking at Marlo and she's seeing that Marlo might not have her peach for next season and she needs to get off the sinking ship quickly and be Team Candy. We already kind of saw it last week when she hugged Candy outside and she said, oh, are you okay? Are you fine? She's finally seeing that maybe she needs to join the other team if she wants to secure her spot for this show. And she tells Marlo, which I was shocked. So how come you didn't tell Candy about this issue that you had with her a long time ago? Why are you just now bringing this up now that the cameras are up? And I'm like, wow, Courtney, wow. Am I going to have to be Team Courtney? I was shocked. And then Marlo, she goes on to say, oh, well, I haven't seen Candy in almost 2-3 years. And I'm like, Marlo, you know that is a lie. Like, that is crazy. She goes on to say that the only reason she didn't bring it up to Candy sooner is because she never had a chance to because her and Candy, they never crossed paths. I'm like, Marlo, a bunch of BS. We saw it in the flashback that Candy came over to your house or vice versa and you both talked it out. You could have said something then or something, after that, but whatever. So then Sonya, Candy, they meet up at Old Lady Gang to eat dinner. And I wonder if Candy still made Sonya pay. Probably, but Sonya, she's going up to Candy and you could tell that Sonya, she's trying to have a backbone and she's like, I'm standing up to Candy today. I don't care. Like, I'm Team Marlo and I'm gonna say it with my chest and I'm not scared of Candy. The second that she saw Candy, oh, hey Candy, how are you? She folded so quickly and Candy's like,
hi, Sonya. So, I have an issue with you and everything because I always feel like you're straddling the fence between me and Marlo and you're always taking up for her 24/7.
Sonya explains that it's difficult being Marlo's friend because she doesn't want to be on her bad side. She doesn't want to get caught in Marlo's crossfire. And Sonya, that's not being a good friend. If you have to be scared of your own friend, of just raising your opinion, your voice, your thoughts, and telling your friend, hey, I don't agree with what you're saying or doing, that's not a good friend because you're just going to let let them do whatever, and you're just gonna turn the blind eye just because you don't want their fire to come in your direction. Like, what kind of friendship is that? That is crazy. So now you're blaming everything on Candy, like, oh, Candy, I just feel like the information that you heard through Marlo, it's wrong and everything, and maybe you're overreacting, blah, blah, blah. And again, she's always going to stick up for Marlo because she doesn't want to get caught in her said crossfire. So Candy's trying to explain that maybe she's not the best at expressing her emotions in certain situations. This one having to do with the death of a loved one. Candy, she has lost her own brother when she was younger. And talking about something like this, it could bring up some type of trauma, or it could mess up your emotions now. You could start thinking about stuff that you don't want to. And sometimes that could be very sensitive to certain people. And Marlo just does not seem to get it. Marlo just wants to, disregard your feelings, your trauma, your whatever, and focus on my trauma. Focus on what I'm feeling. Even though what Marlo's feeling is, is it even valid at this point? So hopefully this is the last time that we speak on this, because Candy, on her Speak On It show, she mentioned how this is the last week that we're ever hearing about this whole situation between Candy, the nephew, and Marlo. So hopefully that's true. And speaking of Candy on Speak On It, Slanya, she did an interview with Carlos King, who used to be a former producer on the show. And Carlos, he asked Slanya, so if you had a dream cast for next season, who would you bring back? Who would you want on the show? Slanya, I believe she said herself, Sheree, Marlo, Phaedra, Portia, and Shamari maybe? Candy, on the other hand, she saw the interview and she was insulted that Sanya wouldn't say Kenya or Candy for the following season, because it's funny that everybody online doesn't want Sanya on the show now, so let alone next season. And it's funny that Sanya would even think that she even stands a chance with Phaedra, Portia, Marlo, Sheree for next season. You really think that Bravo's gonna be like, oh, this is such a strong cast. You know who we need? Sanya Richards. Like, good luck with that. And, it's also funny with Candy, Candy saying that about Sanya when in reality, they're kind of saying the same thing about you. People don't want you or Sanya on the show. So we then see Drew in a dance studio practicing choreography with a bunch of dancers. The video director, Rage, he's also in there directing. And then Ralph, Drew's husband, he pops up out of nowhere. Rage, all of a sudden now he wants to break the breaking news to Drew and Ralph. He's like, look, so the love interest that was supposed to be in the music video, he can't make it anymore because he was double booked, so we need a backup. Ralph, what do you say? Now, if I was Ralph, I would have told Drew, that's pretty unfortunate, don't you think? Like, no, I'm not a backup. I'm sorry. Like, I'm your own husband and you push me to the side for somebody else with a better body? Absolutely not. But, eventually he gives in and he's like, okay, fine. Should I take off my shirt? And they're like, yeah, but let's set the tone, right? And I'm like, ooh, what kind of show is this? And right before Ralph sits down to look at Drew's choreography, he takes off his shirt, and I saw no issue with his body. Like, I don't know what type of standard Rage had for this music video, but I thought that Ralph looked good. I mean, I think he looks good in general. Like, I do think that he's a handsome man. I get it that he's terrible. He's a horrible husband. He's toxic, blah, blah, blah. But, he's handsome, so... So he sits down on the chair and then the music starts. Drew, she starts seducing him with the dance and she's like, 'cause you already know, oh, 'cause you already know that it's yours. I'm like, ooh, okay, Ashley Darby. With the TikTok dances. So then she gets closer to Ralph. Next thing you know, she starts straddling him and I'm like, wait a minute, cut, Rage, say cut, what is this? This is not part of the choreography. She's just riding him, and I'm like, oof. I almost had to purchase one of Candy's toys. Then we see Kenya at the doctor's, and she wants to know if she could possibly get pregnant in the nearby future because she wants a sibling for Brooklyn. But the doctor's telling her, I'm not really sure about that. It's very risky at your age. It could be dangerous. It could be fatal. I'm not really sure you should go down that route. On top of that, her and Mark, her ex-husband, they had some type of contract agreement if anything ever happened in their marriage, and they parted ways, that she could still keep the embryos that they agreed upon. And the question that the producer asked her was, why would you want a baby by Mark, knowing everything he's done to you? And her reply was that she wants the same father for her children, which is completely valid, completely understandable. But as a person looking out at their relationship, I mean, Kenya, Mark has not been the best, and he's still not being the best to you and your relationship with him, let alone to Brooklyn last season. If I remember, you were crying at one point because he sent Brooklyn right back to you. He didn't have time to spend with her. So what makes you think that he's going to have time to spend with the second baby, you know? And then again, I don't really know how it works legally or how it works with embryos. Like, he's technically going to be the father, but does he have any type of say? And it's also not fair to the second baby as well if they don't even get a chance to meet their father because he doesn't want to meet them. So we finally get to Sheree's Gucci brunch, and she's the first one to show up to make sure that everything looks good. Everybody's name is in the correct seating. She doesn't want Candy and Marlo too close to each other, so she tweaks it a little bit. Eventually, the whole cast comes in one by one. They all take their seats. Kenya, she was the last one to walk in, but the producers were quick to point out that her purse that she had on, it's a Chanel purse, and it's supposed to be a Gucci brunch. So Kenya, what are we doing? So she walks in and they're looking at her like, wait, where's your Gucci? Why are you not wearing Gucci? Just because she's not wearing the logos all over her suit. Kenya's like, I'm not wearing logos, but this is Gucci. And she looked good. The best dress goes to Marlo. And ironically, she's wearing snake print again. She already wore snake print like 2 episodes ago. And now here we are. What are you trying to tell us, Marlo? But she looks good. I love the glasses. Followed by Kenya, followed by Sanya. And then everybody else, I don't know what to tell them. And then Marlo, she went down the line with each one of them in the confessional. She goes on to say, Drew, I'm not sure what Drew is wearing. She looks like a handyman. And I couldn't unsee it because Drew, she's wearing like this belt buckle thing around her waist. I'm not sure what she's doing. She looks like she's on her way to Potomac to go build Giselle's house. And then she goes on to tell Sheree, she looks like she's about to go make a deposition, something like that. I'm not really sure what that means, but Sheree, her outfit is like, 4 times her size. And then Candy, she looks like she's going bowling. I mean, Candy's shirt, the shirt was kind of cute, but and then I believe she said that Courtney, no, what she said about Courtney? No, she said about Sanya. Sanya, she went to go to the thrift shop and, this is vintage Gucci. She found it off the rack. Just so rude. But you know what, Marlo, I guess she could back it up because she does look good. But eventually they all take their seats. They start ordering their food. That's that. I believe Sheree starts getting emotional and starts crying out of nowhere. It kind of reminded me of the reunion where Phaedra got exposed, season 9. And then Portia started crying. And then Sheree started crying out of nowhere where Sheree was just like, oh my God. Out of nowhere. Because Sheree, same energy here. She was just like, I want all of us to be okay. Everybody read my text, about sour coochies and pickles and sausages. Like, I just want everybody to be okay. And I want all of us to fix our issues. And I'm like, can I get a mimosa? Like, Sheree, you and this BS crying. But okay, she goes on to say that she wants to fix everybody's issue. And we start off with, I believe it was Sanya. Sanya goes after Kenya, and I'm like, oh, here we go. We all remember what happened last season where she tried Kenya in Jamaica, and she ended up embarrassing herself. And she slightly kind of embarrassed herself here again. And she goes on to say, Kenya, I just feel like with you, I just feel like, I tried to be your friend, but I don't know. I feel disrespected at the event. Your event, you told us to all go home. And I just don't like that. I feel like you should be a better friend to us. And honestly, this is what it is. I feel like Kenya just does not respect Sanya. She does not like her. She doesn't care for her. She doesn't see Sanya on the same level as she does herself. Like, oh, I'm iconic to the show. Who is Sanya? What does she bring to the show? That's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but Kenya's like, you know what? I just don't appreciate that you were basically calling my butt fake. On Watch What Happens Live, Andy had asked her like, oh, do you think that her butt is real? Nah, blah, blah, blah. And Sanya, she was basically like, well, maybe, I'm not really sure. And what does everybody else think? Does everybody still think that Kenya's ass is like fake, real? That's been a topic of conversation since the very beginning. What did Nene Leakes call it? A diaper booty? Then I believe the next issue was between... Was that it? Oh, it was between Courtney and Candy. And Courtney, again, she sees how Marlo is moving and she sees that her team is going down. So she has to hop teams over to Candy. And Candy's like,
Well, you know what, Courtney? I really appreciate that last week, at your event, you came out to check on me after the whole issue between me and Marlo and how I wanted to choke that bitch. I really appreciate that you came out to check on me. I appreciate that olive branch.
Why is it always a olive branch? Where does that come from? Like, it's always an olive branch. It's never, a apple branch or an orange branch or, a different type of fruit. But Courtney, she's so happy, thinking that she's gonna get a peach for next season. She's like,
oh yeah, no, of course, Kenny, no, like, I'm for sure, like, and I appreciate you coming out to my event, and I just think that we're gonna be besties for next season, like, for sure, like, I'm gonna follow you back on Instagram after this, okay?
and I'm like, okay, Courtney. We move over to Marlo, and she tries to fix her issues with Candy, and Candy, for the most part, she was willing to listen to her. So Marlo, she starts off by saying,
you know what, Candy? The thing is, I just wish that you were there for me emotionally as a friend, because if it was the other way around, I will be there for you 100%. And I just feel like you were not there for me at all.
And again, Candy was willing to listen, right? But the issue was that Marlo is sitting in between Drew and Kenya, and both of them started over talking her, and they weren't respecting Marlo's, point of view and everything. And I mean, at this point, is it too late to respect it? Should they have stayed quiet? Is it okay that they were being petty? I don't know, but I feel like they should have stayed quiet. Drew, I'm not sure what she was saying. She just kept over talking, like, oh, BS, blah, blah, blah. Kenya, she's like, oh, now she wants to be friends. Now she wants to do this. No, it's too late. And Marlo, she's trying to, to get everybody to be quiet so she can make her point across. And she's like,
wait. Sheree, can you tell them to be quiet? Candy, can we go outside? Can we talk? I can't hear. Kenya, shh. Kenya, baby girl, please be quiet. Drew, baby girl, please be quiet. I'll listen to your song. You already know. Please be quiet. Shh.
But nobody's listening to her. And then Kenya, even though she was very disrespectful, she had me laughing because all of a sudden, she starts pretending to start choking on her food. And she's like, oh, Sheree, help me out. Sheree, help me out. Sheree, she's over here playing around with her and she's like pumping at her chest. Next thing you know, she pretends to spit out and she's like, I'm sorry, there was just some bullshit right here. Oh, Kenya, so disrespectful. So then Marlo, she's not having it. And she was like,
you know what? I can't believe this. I'm trying to be very genuine right now with Candy.
And then again, they all start laughing at her like, what, genuine? Like, you're really trying to be genuine? And I wish I could believe Marlo that she really is trying to be genuine, but I've seen this pattern with Marlo so many times. Like, one moment she feels like she's being serious, and then as soon as you piss her off, what's gonna happen? All of that goes out the window. So she gets up and she's walking away. And Kenya, I'll tell you this. I'll give you some advice for the future. If you're ever in the same room with somebody that you don't like and you're trying to, push her buttons, because Marlo, she gets up, she walks around Kenya, and Kenya's just casually just eating her food. If I was you, I would not turn my back to Marlo like that. You don't know how unpredictable she is. So Marlo, she's walking away. She's like,
you know what? I can't believe this. I'm going to do this for Sharon,
her coach, her life coach. And, Sharon, I know that Sharon is probably looking at this episode like, stop mentioning me. I keep losing clients because of you, because they keep saying that you're, obviously my techniques are not working with you. So please stop promoting me. So Marlo, she storms out. She's outside with her snake print, and Sheree, she gets up and she goes chasing after her. She's like, Marlo, what's going on? What's happening? Marlo's like,
no, I'm not doing this right now because you're so disrespectful. That girl is so disrespectful.
And again, Marlo's always noticing somebody being disrespectful towards her. But when she was banging on Kenya's door and, screaming summer, 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 then that's okay, right? You weren't being disrespectful then, right? Back inside, as Marlo was walking out, Kenya kept repeating to her, I don't need your respect. You're a bottom rung bitch, which I had to do some research to understand the definition of that. And it means the least important in the group. That's what she's calling Marlo. So after she calms down, she comes back in, she takes a seat. She's trying to talk to Candy again. But at this point, it's all chaos at this brunch because Kenya nor Drew are letting Marlo get her point across to Candy. So whose job is it to do it? Marlo's representative, Sonia, who's sitting right next to Candy. And this is why, as a producer, if I was a producer on the show, I would not have listened to Candy when she told Sheree, can you switch the seats, please? Because at first, it was Candy, Sonia, and then Marlo. Now Marlo is sitting across from her. If I was the producer, I would have been like, Sheree, put the name tag back. Candy, I'm sorry. If Marlo is not sitting next to you, you're not getting paid this week. I'm sorry. To cause extra tension. So then eventually Sonia, You know, I know that she runs, but all of a sudden she decides to run her mouth to Candy. And she's telling Candy, Candy, what is it that you don't get about Marlo? Like, you're not understanding. I feel like you're not understanding what Marlo's trying to tell you. And I'm like, and now wait a minute, Meadows. Like, what's going on with you? Why are you upset at this whole situation? Oh, we know why. Because she's up Marlo's ass. So then Candy, eventually, she finally says what we were all thinking.
Well, you know what? Fuck those flowers and fuck that bitch.
I mean, at this point, you can't even blame her because you just keep going and going and going and trying to attach your nephew to Candy. Courtney and Drew get up to use the bathroom, but did y'all hear what Sheree said to them? I thought I invited women with strong coochies. Why are we going to the bathroom? Like, what, Sheree? We can't even use the bathroom now? Like... Okay, so then the whole thing finishes off by Marlo telling Candy,
you know what, Candy? The issue with you is that you're very entitled. You're a spoiled, entitled brat.
And I'm like, spoiled? Entitled? Candy? I mean, okay, Marlo, okay, and that was that. Wait 1 second. Don't mind my bathrobe. I was literally in the middle of a shower. And as I'm in the shower, I'm thinking, did I forget anything in the video? And then poof, Moneta. She popped into my mind. She was not in the episode at all. Like completely. Like they pulled the Nene Leaks on her. She wasn't on a phone call, FaceTime, nothing. They completely erased her. I'm like, wow, not even the brunch? Like, did Sheree even invite her? I mean, Courtney was there, and Courtney had issues with Candy. Moneta, she has some type of issues with, what's her name, with Marlo as well, that they could have probably, you know, talked about it at the Gucci brunch. I'm pretty sure that Moneta, she probably wanted to wear her Gucci sweater to this brunch and just completely erased her from the episode, but... That's all. I just wanted to come back and, you know, remind anybody if anybody forgot about Moneta. Did anybody miss her? No? Okay, well, with that being said, let me know what you all thought about this whole episode down in the comments. Bye, everybody. Mwah.